19 evident signs that there is an evil person next to you. In this life, we are often blindsided by the company we keep, deceived by smiles that conceal darker intentions. We forget that evil is not a monstrous figure hiding in shadows. It is subtle, insidious, and thrives on our inattention. But as Stoics, we are called to see clearly, to judge rightly, and to protect the fortress of our minds from all harm. Today, we explore 19 evident signs that you stand in the presence of an evil person, not to dwell in fear, but to sharpen our vigilance, strengthen our character, and rise above the destructive forces that prey upon the unwary. 1. They sow chaos. Where there should be harmony, evil thrives in disorder, not because it craves chaos for its own sake, but because it weakens the soul's defenses. The ancient Stoic philosopher Epictetus reminds us, when a man allows his mind to be disturbed by others, he hands over the reins of his own life. The evil person seeks to unbalance you, whispering doubts where there was once certainty, fueling discord where there was once unity. They do not attack directly. They manipulate, planting seeds of confusion and disarray. They test your patience, provoke your anger, and tempt you to stray from reason. But the Stoic remains unmoved. In the face of such chaos, we hold fast to our inner harmony, for the one who cannot be swayed by another's malice is unassailable. Ask yourself, does this person bring peace into my life, or do they thrive on its unraveling? 2. They exploit vulnerabilities instead of uplifting strengths. An evil person identifies weakness not to heal it, but to exploit it. They see your fears and use them as levers of control. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic sage, warned us, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." The evil person wishes to become your obstacle, to turn your vulnerabilities into chains. They will flatter you into complacency, then strike when your guard is down. They undermine your self-worth, all the while masking their intent with false concern. But we, the followers of reason, know better. Our weaknesses are not flaws to be exploited, but opportunities to grow stronger. The very moment you sense someone diminishing you, even subtly, take it as a call to fortify yourself. Evil cannot persist where resilience thrives. 3. They feed destructive emotions. Perhaps the most telling sign of an evil presence is their ability to ignite destructive emotions within you: anger, envy, fear, or despair. Seneca, one of the great Stoic minds, declared, "A man's mind is like a fire. If you add fuel, it burns fiercely, but if you deny it fuel, it will go out." The evil person feeds these flames, for they know that when emotions run wild, reason is abandoned. They will provoke you, incite you, and watch as you lose yourself in the storm they've created. Their goal is simple: to make you forget who you are, to sever you from the discipline that keeps you whole. But we are Stoics. We recognize anger as a momentary madness, fear as a shadow of imagined pain, and envy as a distortion of perspective. We refuse to let these emotions govern us. The next time someone stokes the fires of destruction within you, step back and reclaim your composure. To master your emotions is to disarm the evil that seeks to manipulate you. 4. They disguise malice as virtue. Evil rarely presents itself openly. It cloaks its intentions in the guise of virtue. These individuals may speak of justice while sowing injustice, or claim to act out of kindness while harboring cruelty in their hearts. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca warned, "A wicked man is most dangerous when he pretends to be good." Such people mask their true intentions with charm and eloquence, using the appearance of morality to gain your trust. They may offer help, not out of genuine care, but to create dependency. They may flatter your ego, only to manipulate your actions for their gain. Their words drip with sweetness, but their hearts are steeped in bitterness. As Stoics, we must remain discerning. Words are cheap, but actions reveal the truth. Observe whether their deeds align with their claims. Do they uplift others, or do they subtly undermine? Do they foster virtue in those around them, or do they leave behind a trail of discontent and harm? Let us remember the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. In the presence of such disguised malice, our task is not to mirror their deceit, but to deepen our commitment to living with authenticity. When others distort virtue, we must embody it even more fully. Their duplicity becomes a mirror reflecting our resolve to remain true to the path of wisdom and integrity. 5. They thrive on division and isolation. An evil person often seeks to isolate their targets, cutting them off from supportive relationships and creating division among friends, family, or colleagues. They understand that a divided mind and a fragmented community are easier to manipulate. Seneca once said, "No enemy is worse than bad advice from a trusted friend." They whisper lies, sow mistrust, and manipulate perceptions to pit people against one another. Their ultimate goal is to weaken the bonds that give you strength and to leave you vulnerable, standing alone in a sea of doubt and confusion. The Stoic response is to guard the unity of your inner circle and to resist the temptation to engage in petty disputes. A wise person sees through the schemes of those who thrive on division and instead seeks harmony and understanding. To rise above this tactic is to remain steadfast in your relationships, guided by the principles of reason and fairness. 6. They lack accountability and shift blame. Evil thrives in the shadows of irresponsibility. These individuals avoid accountability for their actions, blaming others for their mistakes and failures. Marcus Aurelius taught, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." An evil person rejects this principle, seeking to control others while evading responsibility for their own conduct. They create elaborate excuses, manipulate facts, and shift guilt to those around them. Their goal is to remain untouchable, while others bear the burden of their wrongdoings. As Stoics, we recognize that true strength lies in owning our choices and their consequences. When confronted with someone who deflects blame and avoids accountability, we stand firm in our commitment to self-responsibility. We refuse to be drawn into their web of deceit and focus instead on aligning our actions with virtue. 7. They disdain growth and seek stagnation. An evil person often resents progress, whether it's yours or their own. They view growth as a threat, for it exposes their own inadequacies and disrupts their control over others. Epictetus warned, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." Such individuals discourage learning, mock self-improvement, and attempt to pull you back into the comfort of mediocrity. They may criticize your ambitions, ridicule your efforts, or belittle your progress, not out of concern, but out of envy and fear. The Stoic response is to treat such resistance as fuel for growth. When someone scorns your journey, let it be a reminder of why you began in the first place. Surround yourself with those who encourage your progress and never allow the disdain of others to weaken your resolve. As Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." 8. They delight in others' misfortune. One of the clearest signs of an evil person is their quiet or even open joy in the suffering of others. They may mask it as humor or indifference, but their heart reveals itself in subtle ways. A smirk at someone's failure, an eagerness to spread bad news, or a sense of satisfaction when others falter. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, to do harm is to do yourself harm. To do injustice is to wound yourself. These individuals derive pleasure not from building themselves up, but from tearing others down. They see life as a zero-sum game, where someone else's downfall is their gain. Such malice, however, reflects their own inner emptiness. As Stoics, we counter this behavior with empathy and justice. Instead of joining in or ignoring their behavior, we remain steadfast in kindness, knowing that another's pain should never be a source of joy. Let us use their actions as a reminder to foster compassion and to take no pleasure in the misfortune of others. 9. They reject truth for the sake of control. Evil often thrives on deception. These individuals twist facts, spread falsehoods, or suppress truths that challenge their narrative. They are not seekers of wisdom but architects of lies, building fragile empires on foundations of falsehood. Seneca observed, "Truth lies open to all. It has not yet been monopolized." An evil person fears truth because it dismantles their ability to manipulate. They will avoid honest discussions, distort reality, and undermine reason in order to maintain control. Their lies are tools meant to obscure clarity and entangle others in confusion. Our response as Stoics is to anchor ourselves in truth. We sharpen our reason, seek wisdom diligently, and embrace reality, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. When confronted with deception, we expose it not with anger, but with calm, confident clarity. Truth is our weapon, and it is unyielding. 10. They diminish the value of virtue. Perhaps the most insidious trait of an evil person is their disdain for virtue itself. They mock integrity as naivety, belittle courage as recklessness, and scorn self-control as weakness. Their goal is to undermine the principles that elevate the human soul. Epictetus warned, "If you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid by those who do not understand." Such individuals find it threatening when others strive for virtue, for it casts a light on their own moral failings. They may ridicule your commitment to growth, dismissing it as pointless idealism. This is not a harmless critique, but an attempt to pull you into the same moral abyss they inhabit. As Stoics, we remain unshaken. Virtue is our compass, and its value is intrinsic, not dependent on the approval of others. When faced with those who scorn our pursuit of wisdom and justice, we view their resistance as a confirmation of the path we walk. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Just that you do the right thing, the rest doesn't matter." 11. They exploit trust to betray evil, often cloaks itself in the guise of trustworthiness. Such individuals skillfully earn your confidence only to use it against you when the moment serves their selfish aims. They may seem supportive, attentive, and loyal, but when their own interests are threatened, they reveal their true nature. As Marcus Aurelius warns, a straightforward, honest person should be like a smelly goat. You know they're there without even turning your head. The betrayal of trust is one of the most destructive acts because it destabilizes your sense of security and peace. These individuals thrive on the wounds they inflict, knowing that betrayal leaves a scar that is difficult to heal. For a Stoic, trust is sacred, but it must be placed wisely. We learn to observe actions over words and to forgive betrayals without becoming naive. Betrayal is painful, but it is also a lesson, a call to refine our discernment and fortify our self-reliance. 12. They undermine others to elevate themselves. An evil person often builds their sense of worth not by improving themselves, but by tearing others down. They seek to diminish your accomplishments, highlight your flaws, or overshadow your virtues. Seneca reminds us, it is the power of a great mind to rise above injuries, not to stoop to the level of those who do them. These individuals are masters of subtlety, often presenting their attacks as constructive criticism or harmless jokes. Their goal is to make you question your worth, to plant doubt where there should be confidence. Our response is not to retaliate, but to remain grounded in self-awareness. A Stoic knows that their value is not determined by the judgment of others, but by their own adherence to virtue. When others seek to bring you down, stand taller by remaining true to your principles and letting your actions speak for themselves. 13. They are driven by envy, not aspiration. Envy is the poison of the soul, and an evil person drinks deeply from it. Instead of finding inspiration in the success of others, they resent it. Instead of striving for excellence, they seek to destroy it. Marcus Aurelius observed, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Saturate it then with thoughts like these." An envious person cannot celebrate your victories. They diminish your achievements, attribute them to luck, or quietly hope for your downfall. Their envy blinds them to the possibility of their own growth, for their energy is spent tearing others down rather than lifting themselves up. As Stoics, we must not succumb to envy ourselves, nor allow the envy of others to affect us. When faced with such individuals, we remain focused on our own path. Let their envy remind you of the importance of humility, gratitude, and the pursuit of excellence for its own sake. 14. They exploit fear to control you. An evil person often uses fear as their primary weapon. They exaggerate dangers, whisper worst-case scenarios, or create false threats to keep you paralyzed and dependent on them. Fear, in their hands, becomes a chain that binds your will and clouds your reason. But as Seneca reminds us, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. These individuals thrive on your hesitations and doubts, using them to steer you away from courage and toward compliance. They aim to shrink your world and make you believe that safety lies only in their approval or guidance. The Stoic counters fear with reason. By examining the sources of fear and distinguishing reality from illusion, we strip evil of its power. We remind ourselves that fear is a reaction we can control. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to act in spite of it. 15. They drain your energy without giving anything back. Evil often takes the form of parasitism. Those who constantly demand your time, energy, and resources, but offer nothing in return. These individuals view others not as partners, but as tools, existing only to fulfill their needs. Marcus Aurelius cautioned, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Their demands are endless, and their gratitude is hollow. They leave you feeling drained, unappreciated, and questioning your worth. They rob you of the energy needed to pursue your own growth and goals. A Stoic protects their time and energy like precious resources. When faced with such people, we establish boundaries rooted in self-respect. Generosity is a virtue, but it must never come at the cost of our own well-being. True giving enriches both the giver and the receiver. Anything else is exploitation. 16. They resist redemption and cling to malice. One of the most profound signs of an evil person is their refusal to change. Despite opportunities for redemption, they cling to their malice, justifying their actions and doubling down on their harmful ways. Epictetus reminds us, "It is impossible to begin to learn that which one thinks one already knows." These individuals resist growth because it threatens their identity and comfort. They would rather dwell in darkness than make the effort to step into the light. No matter how much understanding, forgiveness, or guidance you offer, they reject it, choosing instead to remain rooted in destructive patterns. For a Stoic, this is a painful realization, but an important one. We cannot change others who are unwilling to change themselves. What we can do is focus on our own journey, maintaining our commitment to virtue even in the face of their obstinacy. We let their resistance remind us of the preciousness of growth and the necessity of self-reflection. 17. They manipulate through guilt. An evil person often wields guilt as a weapon, using it to control and manipulate others. They exaggerate your mistakes, remind you of past failures, or frame themselves as victims to make you feel indebted to them. Seneca warned of such tactics when he said, "A guilty mind is always uneasy." These individuals seek to exploit your conscience, turning your natural sense of accountability into a tool for their own gain. They create an imbalance where your emotional labor is spent appeasing their endless demands while they remain free of true accountability. A Stoic recognizes guilt as a teacher, not a tyrant. When guilt arises, we examine it honestly, learn the lesson it offers, and then release it. We do not allow others to manipulate us by keeping us chained to past errors. True repentance lies in improvement, not in endless submission to another's control. 18. They are driven by chaos, not order. An evil person often thrives in chaos because disorder serves their purpose. They create confusion through mixed messages, shifting narratives, and unpredictable behavior, leaving others disoriented and unsure of what to expect. Chaos is their ally, for it obscures truth and erodes the foundation of trust. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Order yourself in harmony with the universe, which is also orderly." By destabilizing your environment, they force you to expend your energy simply trying to regain balance, leaving little left for self-growth or pursuit of virtue. Their chaos becomes a distraction, pulling you away from clarity and reason. The Stoic response is to anchor oneself in inner order and discipline. When faced with external confusion, we turn inward, organizing our thoughts, actions, and priorities. By cultivating calm in the midst of chaos, we render their tactics powerless and uphold the Stoic principle of mastering what lies within our control. 19. They derive power from your doubts. An evil person thrives by feeding on your insecurities, amplifying your doubts, and making you question your own judgment. They plant seeds of uncertainty about your abilities, your decisions, and even your worth. Over time, these seeds grow into a forest of self-doubt that traps you in inaction and fear. As Epictetus taught, who then is invincible? The one who cannot be upset by anything outside their reasoned choice. Such individuals aim to weaken your resolve, making you reliant on their opinions or approval. Their power lies not in their strength, but in the fragility they foster within you. A Stoic meets this challenge by rooting their confidence in the unshakable foundation of reason and self-knowledge. Doubts are natural, but they are also fleeting, mere impressions, not facts. By examining these doubts with clarity and reason, we reclaim our power and dismantle the illusions created by others. Let their attempts to exploit your doubts remind you of the importance of inner fortitude. Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "If you are pained by external things, it is not they that disturb you, but your own judgment of them. And it is in your power to wipe out that judgment now."